Hello and welcome to the tutorial which discusses about Tableau server. We know for a fact that there are a lot of products available in Tableau for which we need to log into www.tableau.com. There are a lot of products available. For example, we have Tableau Desktop, we have Tableau Server, we have Tableau Online, Mobile, Public, and Reader. We would be spending a lot of time discussing about the Tableau server per se. Let me click on this Tableau server now. We can look into a quick overview of Tableau server and try to understand a lot of interesting insights about Tableau. So if I scroll down completely, you would have the pricing details of Tableau server, which is going to cost you $10,000 for 10 users, and that's the starting price. From there on, if you have any upgrades, because Tableau 10 is about to be released in the near future, it is going to cost you 25% per year. And if you look into the number of data sources which are supported using Tableau, there are approximately 40 plus servers which you can connect to using Tableau server. We have Cloudera Hadoop, we have Google BigQuery, we have Hortonworks Hadoop, we have MapR, so on and so forth, which will help us connect to a lot of big data sources as well. And if I click on Web Data Connector, we see that the Web Data Connector unlocks a world of data that's available over the web and brings it to Tableau. You can virtually connect to any site that publishes data in JSON format or XML format or HTML format. And if you want to extract the data from Twitter or from Facebook or from any of the social media sources, we can make use of Tableau Web Data Connector. There are also a lot of technical requirements which have to be fulfilled even before we install Tableau Server. We need to have Windows Server 2008 Service Pack 2 or later. And when I say later, we have a lot of other servers available, right? Including Windows Server 2008, you have Windows Server 2008 R2 Release 2. We have Windows Server 2012, we have Windows 2012 R2, so on and so forth. These are all the Windows operating systems, which are for the servers. We can also have a Windows operating system, which is for a client. However, we need to have Windows 7 or later. And Windows 7 Home Edition is not allowed. When it comes to Windows 7 or later, it includes Windows 8, Windows 8.1, or Windows 10. The reason I'm frequently using the word Windows is because Tableau Server can be installed only on Windows operating system. In order to get a detailed understanding on the hardware which is required for you to install the Tableau Server, we need to click on this. And if you're trying to install Tableau Server for prototyping and testing purpose, then you can either install Tableau Server on a 64-bit computer or a 32-bit computer. If it is a 64-bit computer, you need to have minimum of 4 cores, 8 GB system memory, and 15 GB minimum free disk space. And if you're trying to use a 32-bit computer, you need to have at a bare minimum 2 cores, 4 GB system memory, and 15 GB free disk space. And if you're trying to use Tableau Server for the production use, you need to have a slightly higher configuration. 64-bit processor is highly recommended, 8 physical cores, 32 GB RAM or system memory, and 50 GB minimum free disk space. These are the requirements for a single computer. If you want to have multiple nodes and enterprise deployments, you need to focus on a different kind of a configuration. For that, you need to contact Tableau because it all depends on how many users you have, how many people would be accessing Tableau in your organization, so on and so forth. And when we install Tableau Server, we can open the Tableau Monitor dialog box on any of these browsers. So you have Android, Apple Safari, you have Internet Explorer, Mozilla Firefox, Google Chrome, so on and so forth, using which you would be able to access the Tableau server. And we anyways know the system requirements. All right. And we will be spending some amount of time discussing about user authentication and security later on. But for now, let us discuss about the virtual environments. If you have a virtual environment which runs on Citrix environments or Microsoft Hyper-V, Parallels, VMware, Microsoft Azure, and Amazon EC2, you can have your Tableau products hosted on that and try to make use of that. And there are a lot of other languages which is supported for Tableau. And before installing it is always recommended to check your existing applications which are installed on your server or your desktop so that you do not run into challenges at a later point of time. 32-bit versions of Tableau requires 32-bit data source drivers. And if you're running 64-bit version of Tableau, you need to have a 64-bit data source drivers. And all these data sources require 64-bit. If 64-bit drivers are not found or are not compatible with the connection type, Tableau will use 32-bit drivers. Now let me click on Learn About Server and let us try to install this. Tableau Server can be installed for free of cost for 14 days. All you need to do is click on Try it for free. The moment you do that, you would have two different variants. You have 32-bit Windows and 64-bit Windows. If you have 32-bit Windows, you can download Tableau Server, and here is a minimum configuration that we have already discussed about. If you have a 64-bit Windows and if you're trying to install Tableau Server, this is the minimum configuration that is required. We will also very soon look into Tableau Online and try to look into the advantages of using Tableau Online over Tableau Server. So in the next tutorial, we will be actually installing Tableau Server right from the scratch. Thank you so much for listening to this segment.